Several months ago when the Neo Geo X was released, one of the biggest questions was whether Tomo would publish more titles for the system, and finally they have. This is the Neo Geo X Mega Pack Volume 1. It's got 15 games on an SD card and comes in a snap case that is the correct size to match an AES game case. There's other stuff included, like this pretty nice book with instructions for the games and accompanying artwork, and in the back is a set of stickers for each game if you're a sticky kind of person. I'm not, unless it's really humid out. There's also a firmware update instruction book, the so-called rocket cable that allows charging of the console with the AC adapter, and is needed as well to update the firmware, and this warning sheet about the disastrous consequences of whatever. There's a spot to store the handheld as well. You just kinda go like this here, and okay, it's in. It fits well, but it's a bit too shallow, so the joystick stands up too high, and feels like it gets a little squished when you close the case, even if you remove the manuals. Oh, and one other thing is that under the foam here, it says Neo Geo X. Pretty sneaky. So the packaging is pretty good, but I don't think many had complaints about the packaging of the Neo Geo X. The issues were technical in nature, and hopefully the firmware update will fix them. So does it? Yes and no. Mainly no, but let's just do a quick rundown of things that needed work and how the update has affected them. Before that though, while I won't get into how to do the update, because there's instructions included for that, but when it's going, it'll look like this. The light on the rocket cable will flash between red and blue, and the screen on the handheld says upgrade. Okay, with that out of the way, on to what changes have come with the firmware update. Superficially, the game icons in the menu screen are different now, perhaps a bit sleeker looking, but of more importance are the technical issues. I know this video won't cover everything for everybody, but these are things that I was looking for with the update. First is the sound. In my initial first impression video, I said it was crunchy but okay. Others pointed out that indeed it was pretty bad, so let's do a quick comparison of the sound before and after the firmware update. Here's the Neo Geo theme before the update. And here's it from the same game after the update. You can hear it's now much clearer. And here's a little bit from the intro of Samurai Showdown II, before and after. 今は昔の物語。我が道極めんとする男あり。今は昔の物語。我が道極めんとする男あり。So it seems that the sound is much improved. I'm not saying it's as good as the original, but that crunchiness seems to be gone, so that's good. Next is controller input lag when using the docking station and arcade stick. Input lag was and is not an issue when using the handheld, but people noticed that the response was sluggish when using the arcade stick. With the update, it feels slightly improved, but still not as good as a real Neo Geo. I had tried recording gameplay directly of the TV screen with the joystick in the shot to try to compare between pre-update, post-update, and a real AES console, but I'm not sure that my method is technically sound, so I don't want to show that. But just by playing a couple games, it does seem a bit better, but not as good as the real thing. A graphical issue people had when the Neo Geo X was released was tearing or VSync issues. And just to get to the point, I don't think the tearing was addressed at all. Here's the second stage from Alpha Mission 2 pre-update. You can see the tearing as the moon scrolls by underneath you. And here's the same area post-update, and you can still see the tearing. So yeah, I tried a few other games and still saw the problem, so that still needs work. When I got my Neo Geo X, I'd intended to use the composite video output on a good old CRT television, and while it works, the video output is very dark. My solution was to run the video through an old VCR, which for some reason brightens it right up. I also have to do this trick with my Commodore 64, so it's good that the X has a video output that matches 30-year-old technology. I didn't actually have much hope that the update would fix this, and it doesn't, but what I didn't expect was that the quality would actually be worse. I realize this footage looks nice and bright, but that's just how it records. On screen it's dark. But the problem now is the edges of stuff on screen are all twitchy. It's especially noticeable on text. On the left is some text pre-update, and on the right is how it looks now. Hopefully the shakiness is evident in this footage. So for me, now the composite video is just not an option anymore because of these problems. But the HDMI video quality seems improved. First, let me say that it still just outputs a 480p signal, so you cannot expect greatness. And I think some people had problems with incorrect screen ratio and the edges of the image getting cut off when using HDMI, but I never had those problems in the first place, so I unfortunately can't say if the update has resolved those issues. But the actual image quality seems better. I am really dumb for not getting some off-screen footage from before the update, but when I hooked the console up after the update, my instant impression was that things just looked nicer. The colors seemed richer and more accurate, and as I remember, edges of objects originally had like halos around them, as if there was some excessive sharpening going on or something, and I don't see those anymore. Here's the top of the screen info from Metal Slug, and while it's not a super sharp 1080p signal, the edges of stuff looks okay. Maybe someone else can get a before and after comparison to see if I am just imagining things or not. The last thing I want to quickly mention is game saves. After the update, supposedly every game that supports saving will now be able to save. I have not tried all the games, but you can see here Baseball Stars 2 asking if I want to load my save, and I do, and it works. The catch is that it's seemingly saving to the SD card, not to some internal storage area, because if I were to remove the card, the option to load my save doesn't come up. So if they release more Mega Pack volumes, you'll have to remember which one has the save file you want on it. So this video took longer than expected. This has been a not quick first impression / rambling look about the Neo Geo X Mega Pack Volume 1, but mainly about the new firmware update. I don't think this update will change anyone's mind for or against the Neo Geo X. While not as good as the real thing, I don't hate the X either, and had fun with it when I got it, mainly with the handheld. I suppose with the improved sound, the I think better HDMI image quality, and a tiny bit faster controller response, I do feel a bit better about the console aspect of the system, even though I feel the composite video is just not worth it anymore. But to me, the handheld was the best part of the whole deal, and I still feel that way. I can't say it's worth buying the Mega Pack or one of the smaller game packs to get this update. I mean, I bought it, but I'm an idiot. Something like this should be free, especially considering it hasn't addressed all the issues. There is always the collectible aspect to this system and the Mega Pack. I think this is the kind of thing where in 5 years someone will see your Neo Geo X on the shelf and say, "Oh yeah, I remember that thing. They never did release any extra games for it though." And you can say, "Oh, but they did," and break out the Mega Pack Volume 1. And then you can go play some other console. So hopefully this video was at least a tiny bit interesting and or helpful, and thank you very much for watching.